We will now begin our second round of questions for senators who wish to ask additional questions. I would like to begin with a follow-up question to Colonel Stock on this topic of the withdrawal from Afghanistan and SIVs. As someone who has represented clients in these special immigration visa cases, what are your views on what should or can be done before the troops in Afghanistan are withdrawn?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. As I've said on the record in other contexts, the only solution at this point is to invoke the section of the Immigration and Nationality Act that allows for evacuations that have been discussed. It's the parole authority in Section 212, and we have done this before. The Pentagon has taken charge of similar operations in the past. The most memorable one I think that comes to mind is in 1996 Operation Pacific Haven, where we evacuated thousands of Kurds to the island of Guam. And there they were able to do the orderly immigration process in a safe place. That's doable here, but of course it will take leadership at the White House. They'll have to tell the Pentagon to dust off the plans, change the names, and get the resources flowing. But it's perfectly doable with leadership at the top. And again, you wouldn't be processing visas in Kabul. You'd be paroling people into the United States to a safe location. I'm not saying it has to be Guam. It could be Alaska. But someplace where you can keep people safe and you can send the resources in to vet them and process them properly for asylum status or special immigrant visas or other benefits to which they might be entitled.
Okay, thank you very much. Important part of today's record. Next question. It's estimated that there's currently about 11,800 service members who are serving actively who have a family member who is facing deportation. This seems dangerous from a military readiness point of view. If service members are distracted or worried that about the possible deportation of a family member, it could negatively impact their focus on their mission. Furthermore, veterans who have served honorably should not be put through the additional stress and burden of having a family member deported. I recently heard of Alejandra Juarez, a case where the mother of 2 children was forced to self-deport to Mexico. Her husband had served honorably in the United States Marine Corps and was put in a financial and emotional straits when his wife became a priority for deportation after living in the United States for 20 years, more than 20 years. He was forced to support 2 households, one in Florida and one in Mexico, and did his best to care for their daughters. Almost 3 years later, Alejandra was finally allowed to come back home, but her future remains uncertain. Colonel Stock, what remedy is currently available to deported family members of military service members and veterans? And of course, what can Congress do to make sure family members of military service members and veterans are protected from deportation?
This is a very complex problem, and the only remedy in most cases is for the family member to somehow get a hold of some expert immigration lawyer to help them. The American Civil Liberties Union and the American Immigration Lawyers Military Assistance Program have been trying to provide help to these family members. Of course, it takes a lot of work and many hours and lots of experts. Recently, DHS has announced a new policy where they will allow prosecutorial discretion in cases involving military family members. I mentioned this in my written testimony as well. I applaud the Department of Homeland Security for coming forward with this new guidance. I think it'll go far, but people need an attorney to help them request the prosecutorial discretion. And so it's going to be difficult for many people to realize that there's a memo out there and to request this relief.
Thank you. And one additional question for you. According to the INA, military service members are entitled to, quote, expedited naturalization if they serve during a period of active hostility or wartime. The United States has been in a period of active hostility since the war on terrorism began on September 11, 2001. Colonel Stock, in your experience, have military naturalizations been expedited or fast-tracked since 2001? How long does the process take on average?
Senator, they were being fast-tracked from about 2002 through about 2016, when the administration decided, at the behest of civilians employed at the Department of Defense, to stop expediting naturalizations for military personnel. And we found this out through various lawsuits that got filed. So right now, they're not expedited. And as I said earlier, I think it would go far for Congress to lift the sunset date on the Military Citizenship Processing Act and restore the mandate that the agency must process these cases within 6 months.
Thank you very much.